Coming up, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission on boarding schools is one step closer to authorization. And we celebrate Indigenous athletes playing summer sports. Plus, ICT has a new deputy managing editor, and he is a familiar face to Indigenous journalism. We visit with him. I'm Malia Chavez. Join us for those interviews, plus headlines from the ICT Newscast.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
Arizona State University welcomes 3,500 Indigenous students from Arizona and across the nation. It serves one of the largest populations of Indigenous students among U.S. colleges and universities. We created a sense of place for tribal nations to create futures of their own making through community outreach and research, taught by world-class Indigenous faculty where they see a reflection of themselves and their experiences. Find community at ASU.
Amadawa Hopa, thank you for joining us. We start today in South Dakota, where the Sisseton, Wahpeton, Oyate are continuing the work of reestablishing the boundaries of its territory. Currently, those border lines do not show up on any official map in South Dakota. A 1975 Supreme Court decision erased the lines, but not the Oyate. Nation leadership say its 107,000 acres of land are still intact, even if it's not recognized. The only options for SWO now are the Supreme Court or an act of Congress. State lawmakers will first have to recognize those boundaries before that. SWO citizen and state representative Tamara St. John has already drafted a bill to recognize the boundaries for the 2024 session. We turn now to Abenaki territory in present-day Vermont, where a new $12.6 million native art museum is being planned. The Shelburne Museum announced the nearly 10,000-square-foot building in May. Shelburne officials hope the Perry Center for Native American Art will be a, quote, national resource for the study and care of Indigenous art. This space is set to house more than 500 pieces of Indigenous art from more than 80 tribal nations. The facility will also hold 200 masterworks recently gifted to the museum, with the state-recognized Abenaki nations consulting on the project. Some of the pottery is currently on display at the museum in an exhibition that opened last month.
They're doing it right. They're not just putting up a display and saying, here you are. They're actually consulting with the individuals whose ancestors created these things, these objects, to respectfully say, how do you want to see them? How do you want them to be represented? How do you want them cared for? And I think because they have the resources to do it, those things will be here and protected, for future generations.
We turn now to Canada, where a special concert is aiming to reconnect Indigenous youth with their language and culture. APTN's Tina House has more.
For these students at the Imagine High Integrated Arts and Technology Secondary School, the excitement is building as they prepare to perform the Voice of Stream concert for the public in honor of National Indigenous Day. Singing in the traditional language of Hulkamalum, the traditional Stolo language of the Fraser Valley, and English, the bilingual concerts are the first of their kind to be performed in a setting like this. In collaboration with the singing and drumming or other students in the rock band program. For student Keanu Ritchie, who is from the Stolo Nation, this concert is a way for them and other Indigenous kids to learn their language and share with the public the cultural beauty of the Stolo people.
Yeah, I know, I guess it's nice to see. It definitely feels unusual and just a bit weird almost that everyone is taking part in a culture that I've known all my life, and because normally I'm not used to being around people who, I don't know, just are interested and want to know more.
For non-Indigenous student Percy Murphy, this experience is something that she will never forget.
It's honestly been amazing. Like, I haven't lived in Chilliwack too long, and the time that I have been living here, I've been opened up to so much more culture, and being able to witness the Indigenous peoples and seeing what their culture is like, it's been amazing. Because when you live in the city, you're mostly sheltered from a lot of it. And so coming out to a smaller town like this, you really do get to see more.
Brooke Haller is the principal of the school. She says the idea came from a quick conversation one day, and she's thrilled it's actually happening.
The idea came from the Stalo Research and Education Center, and we had this beautiful partnership opportunity to work with Good Medicine projects. And when we brought it back to our team, they really worked to make it alive, and what resulted was just this beautiful project on reconciliation that brings in the voices of community, that gives students a voice as change agents, and just gives us a chance to share that learning opportunity with our larger community.
Listen to the stream, what a life to stop to love the stream as a voice, when love is stopped to love.
And this is the result of all that collaboration. For Johnny Williams, he says it's truly magical to see all of these kids come together to sing the language of his people.
To be able to help and teach our Hulkamalum language, as my grandmother's our last fluent speaker. And so to be part of this and to see and hear our language be spoken by, many children of all different backgrounds, it's just truly amazing.
The Voice of Stream concert is free for the public and will be streamed through all social media platforms. Tina House, APTN National News, Chilliwack.
And those are the headlines for the ICT Newscast. The Senate Committee on Indian Affairs unanimously approved Senate Bill 1723, the Truth and Healing Commission on Indian Boarding School Policies. The legislation, which was co-sponsored by 28 U.S. senators, passed out of committee last month. That comes as the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition continues its work to bring awareness to this cause. ICT's Shirley Snavy has this interview with the organization's CEO, Deborah Parker.
This is the first time in history that a cabinet secretary comes to the table with this shared trauma. And it's not lost on me. I'm determined to use this position for the good.
The Road to Healing tour by Interior Secretary Deb Haaland took her to many locations around Indian country. She heard from descendants and survivors of boarding schools. And now the Senate Select Committee on Indian Affairs unanimously passed a bill to create a Truth and Healing Commission. Deborah Parker leads this effort.
SCIA, the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, is bipartisan, so we needed to work with all of the offices on the Senate side to ensure that the senators felt like this was a bill that they could get behind and support, and that they understood the importance of working with the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition and with the Interior's work and all of the tribal nations who have really been working to tell this story, to have sacred items returned, of course, because the story has not really been told. There are researchers out there who have been saying, hey, look, there's a problem here and we need to address this. There's a boarding school era that took children, that destroyed families, tribal communities, native languages, and we need to hold ourselves accountable for what we have created here in the United States against Indigenous peoples. We have, in our historical backgrounds, if we look at our genealogy, many of even our staff at NABS are wondering what happened to grandma, what happened to auntie, what happened to our relatives, where did they go to, where were they sent to the boarding schools, and how come they didn't return? Many didn't return. And so we know through our travels and meeting with tribal nations across the country, We know like places in Alaska where we spoke at a conference last year. We heard stories and testimonies that they would have their children in the summertime, and they would be playing and fishing, hunting, berry picking, all of our traditional practices. And then came a certain time, and government officials, took their children, and then in the villages it went silent. And so there was a great cry for their children, for their grandchildren. And so we know those families suffered at the hands of officials taking their children to places they didn't know. So some were told it was nearby boarding schools. Other kids were taken into Canada, and some to the lower 48. So we've heard stories that are very diverse, and each story that we hear from boarding school survivors varies in degrees. But something that I've been really that's really hurtful to me is to hear the amount of abuses that happen to the children. And that's too frequent, in my opinion, and it should be in anyone's opinion, that children who were sexually assaulted, verbally assaulted, hit, spanked, locked to generators, thrown downstairs, disciplined to a point of sometimes no return. Some never returned to those circles. Some took their lives. There was a lot of, some alcohol and drug addiction. And if you look at what was underlying that was extreme abuse. And so meeting the most beautiful people of my life, which are the Indigenous peoples of that territory and this territory, I'm extremely angry. I'm hurt. Those elders, at least they had a voice, but those children that died in the boarding schools and the residential schools, they did not have a voice. So we're the voice of today. And if there's something that I can do in my lifetime, and I know the staff that works with us and so many others, if they can help shed light and bring justice to these children, then I'm absolutely here for it. And I know they are too. This issue is so difficult to explain because there's many layers and levels to what the ultimate goal was. And that was by the government to kill the Indian to save the man. That was genocide. That was pure, cold, calculated, hurtful actions towards Native children and the communities. And that was definitely to eradicate a culture and a people. And so us talking today is resilience. The fact that we're able to have this discussion means that we've made it through some layers and levels of atrocities, and to find that balance within ourselves. And of course, we know that this is also science, our DNA. We need certain foods in our systems. And so to go back to the earth, to return back to those natural vibrations, it's incredibly important. And those teachings are passed down from generation to generation. And we know the boarding school harmed some of those teachings, but we also know that within us, they're starting to come back. And that's the exciting piece of this all.
2023 has been a groundbreaking and exciting year for sports. From the hockey world to basketball and even professional cycling, Indigenous athletes have excelled. ICT's Mackenzie Allen Charmley has all of the latest with the co-founder of Indiansports.com, Brent Cowie.
Hi, Brent. Thank you so much for joining us. To start, let's talk hockey. I understand the NHL Stanley Cup took place recently and included some Indigenous players as well as an Indigenous win. What can you tell us about what went down?
Yeah, the NHL Stanley Cup, biggest game of the year for hockey fans. It was great that we had two Indigenous hockey players on each side of the team there. We had Brendan Montour and we had Zach Whitecloud. Brandon's from Mohawk Nation and Zach from the Sioux Dakota Valley tribe. And, Zach White Cloud's team, the Knights ended up winning the Stanley Cup. It's just amazing that we had two Indigenous players in the finals, and even more amazing that they were playing against each other. I mean, you think about all the Indigenous athletes that even exist or players, and just for the odds for them that they meet up in the championship game. It was just wonderful to watch from my perspective. I'm just a huge fan of sports and especially the Native athletes. So I had a great time enjoying that series and glad it turned out for either of the guys to get first or runner up as well.
Moving to lacrosse, the Haudenosaunee Nationals have won their third straight bronze medal in San Diego on July 1st. What is the significance behind that?
Yeah, the Haudenosaunee won the World Lacrosse Championships that was held in San Diego, like you said, for winning the bronze for the third year in a row now. And when they got into the World Lacrosse Association with a young team, if you can think of Lyle Thompson as someone who's young, but he's a veteran player, him and Austin Stotts now, and they lead the team. And actually Austin led in all statistical categories for the World Lacrosse in terms of points and assists and stuff like that during the championships, which was an amazing feat in itself. But the Haudenosaunee team is really getting to the point where they're really challenging the United States team, the Canadian teams. Understand that these used to be kind of blowout games in the past, where the Haudenosaunee didn't have a real fighting chance to really win, but now we're getting closer and closer to actually winning and obtaining a silver and or gold medal in the near future as well. So it's exciting to see these young players that are on the team now, Brendan Bomberry, and our goalie as well. They're coming along and developing really nice for this team. And I think, they're going to be always going to be a contender for sure. But I think the next time the World Lacrosse Championship happens, they'll definitely be someone to keep an eye out and be really ranked up there with the teams.
And in the Tour de France, I understand there's an Indigenous athlete who won the King of Mountains jersey. Can you tell us what that is and the meaning behind it?
Yeah. Obviously, the Tour de France is one of the longest running bicycle road races in the world that goes on every year. And probably more history, people remember a lot of the great riders that the United States teams used to have and riders they used to have. But Nelson, he grew up watching those and idolizing those riders. And, he's from the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin. Both him and his sister are both professional bicyclists. His whole goal growing up was to, number one, participate in the Tour de France, and then number two, win a stage. So basically they have these stages across, France that they race once a day, up to 100 kilometers, 120 kilometers a day potentially. And so his goal was to win a stage as a youth, and that's exactly what he did in the first stage of the Tour de France. He was able to win that stage for his bicycling team that he is riding with. So just an amazing feat that, a reservation boy who had big dreams when he was little to, achieve those dreams and become a stage winner and wear the polka dot jersey in the next stage 2 race. And moving forward, I think they're up to stage 3 or 4 now in the race. But, who does that? You dream and of doing that one day, and then here you are, just a Native American rider from a reservation, and now you're a stage winner from the Tour de France. I'm sure his goals are probably to win the Tour de France one day as well. But it's a process. It takes time, takes a lot of training and a lot of years, and I'm pretty sure he'll get there one day.
Well, as you know, Nabi is soon approaching. What can you tell us about the significance behind the Invitational and why this means so much to Indian country?
Well, the organization is coming up on its 20th season this year, I believe. And in this past year, they've partnered with the Phoenix Suns into helping them develop a new uniform this year. They've always had some sponsorships for the uniform, but this year they wanted to sponsor themselves. And so they worked with the Phoenix Suns to come up with some cool designs that have influence from the tribes in Arizona. But the tournament has significance. It's a week of, you have over 2,000 players, athletes come to the Phoenix area, and they compete against each other. You get teams from Oklahoma, from Montana, obviously Arizona, California, Oregon, just all over the country who come to kind of see who the best high school team is. And that's what they do. They battle out for 3 or 4 days until whoever gets to the championship games, which they have at the Phoenix Suns home arena there in downtown Phoenix. So a lot of pride on the line, a lot of bragging rights on the line, and of course, obviously, with their TV partnerships they've gotten with those companies. Now you get to play on a national limelight as well. So it's a great event. Just family oriented, fun to watch, competitive games. So it's definitely something I think, like I said, people need to go and attend and support these student athletes. They train all year. They work hard all year to fundraise to get there. And then they get a week of opportunities where they have educational camps and they have seminars and things of that nature to help prepare them for if they want to continue on into college and or play competitive college sports as well. So, and also a lot of kids get recruited out of these tournaments as well from time to time.
And finally, Brent, is there anything else in the Indian country sports world that people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, sports is always going on. As much as you think it slows down in the summer, it really picks up, and you start going through summer sports and getting ready for the fall. But one thing I do want to mention for sure is, we just had the Women's College World Series in last month with a great run by University of Oklahoma, which featured a Native American girl on their team that won the championship. But moving forward, there was also a Native American girl that competed in the Women's College World Series. Her name was Silent Rain Espinoza, who's from the Kumeyaay tribe out in California. Her team didn't win it, but she did graduate college, and she was drafted into the Women's Professional Fast Pitch Pro League, where she made her debut last week. And since her debut last week, in only 8 days now, she's already had a triple, a double, singles, and a home run.
Well, Brent Carley, thank you so much for joining me today to talk all things sports in Indian country.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Here at ICT, we are continuing to grow and hire new staff members. We recently hired a deputy managing editor, which is a new position at ICT. Kevin Abarask is a Rosebud Lakota citizen with over 2 decades of experience in journalism, covering higher education and Indigenous affairs. Kevin, hello to you and welcome.
Hello, Leah. Good to be here. Thank you.
You are in your first week of work with ICT. What has been your experience so far? It's like drinking water from a fire hose, just so much going on in Indian country. And ICT News is just really doing incredible work. So it's exciting to be joining the team and really looking forward to the future here. As I mentioned, you bring decades of experience to this position. Give our viewers a sense of where you've spent your journalism career before this.
Sure. Yeah. So I served at the Lincoln Journal-Star here in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I live, for 18 years as a reporter and an editor, doing about every kind of position you could imagine in a newspaper newsroom. After that, I went to work for a Native American news website, Indians.com. That's Indians with a Z, and spent about almost 6 years there. And that's where I'm coming from as of now. So,
when you're reporting on Indian country specifically, are there specific topics or beats that interest you in particular?
Sure. Yeah. The MMIW issue is something that I've covered quite a bit through Indians.com and even for the Lincoln Journal-Star. And it's something that I hope to just keep an eye on here at ICT News. I've, written about a lot of different kind of cultural issues as well, especially related to the COVID pandemic and how that impacted Indian country. So that's something that I have a natural, sort of interest in, but also some expertise now, having written about those issues for a number of years.
When you're thinking about goals that you really want to accomplish in your new position, what comes up for you?
I really hope that ICT News, and I'm sure they will attempt to do some real investigative work in a lot of different areas. There's a lot of different issues in Indian country that are really ripe for investigative kind of in journalism. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to dig into those things. I'm sure we will here in the coming years.
And we're wrapping up our time here, but I do want to ask for people who are thinking about going into journalism, specifically young people, what advice would you have for the Indigenous people who maybe want to consider a career in news?
Sure. Internships. Nobody will hire you unless they know you. So, just try a lot of different news organizations out, and hopefully you'll find one where you fit in and you'll get some work there.
Well, ICT's new Deputy Managing Editor, Kevin Abrask, I'm sure we'll see much more of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leah.
And that's a slice of our Indigenous world. For all the latest, visit ictnews.org. From all of us in the newsroom, stay safe, my relatives.
This program is made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.